You've started your home bakery and you're struggling with pricing due to a number of reasons. Maybe you're a home baker and you feel underqualified and feel like you shouldn't be charging that much. Or maybe numbers overwhelm you. You know your price too low, but you're scared that no one will buy if you raise your prices. I totally get it. I've been through the exact same thing with my own business, and I plan to share all the pricing mistakes I've made in the past in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed. But today, I want to focus on all the factors you should be considering in order to price your baked goods for profit. Step 1. Calculate your direct costs. This is the most straightforward cost to calculate. In theory, you should already know all the costs of the supplies and ingredients that go into making your baked goods. Although this is a really tedious process, you should only really need to do this step once, and then you should be able to streamline your pricing process after. If you don't know how to calculate how much it's costing you in ingredients and supplies to create your baked goods, I've linked my recipe calculator that you can download for free below. Step 2. Establish an hourly rate for yourself and calculate your labor costs. Unlike most jobs that have prescribed salaries and wages, as a self-employed business owner, you're going to have to come up with an hourly wage for yourself that you deem appropriate. I recommend starting with 1.5 times the minimum wage in your area and increasing this based on your qualifications, such as if you already have professional working experience in the industry. Once you've come up with your hourly rate, make sure you time yourself completing an order from start to finish at least a handful of times. Try to account for hidden costs that you normally wouldn't think to incorporate into your time. Examples of hidden costs could be time spent emailing back and forth with the client, time spent making custom designs, or even time spent mixing custom buttercream colors. You shouldn't have to do this timing exercise every single time you complete an order, but I recommend doing this at least a handful of times so you have an idea of around how long it takes you to complete an order. Take the average of this and multiply it by your hourly wage, and use this as a baseline when you're coming up with the base prices for your baked good. Remember that time is your most valuable resource, and you shouldn't feel bad about charging your worth in the hourly wage that you've set for yourself. Time spent fulfilling an order is time you could have spent doing something else. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, you have a part-time job, or a full-time job, this does not diminish the amount of time that you're putting into fulfilling your order. Take the emotions out of establishing your hourly wage and purely think about this from a business and mathematical perspective. If time is your most valuable resource and time is the largest component of fulfilling a custom order, then undervaluing your time and undercharging would make the largest impact on your price. Said differently and simply, if there's one thing in your pricing model that you need to get right, it's your labor costs. Step 3, calculate your indirect costs. To simplify things, I'm just going to lump depreciation and overhead into this category. Overhead costs are costs that aren't easily identifiable to a specific function to your business, but are essential to keep your business running on a day-to-day basis. Common examples of overhead costs are utilities, business licensing fees, website fees, and insurance fees. Another indirect cost is depreciation. Think of all the tools and equipment that you've invested in for your business. Most of these tools can be classified as depreciable assets that have a certain useful life. You should be calculating both your overhead costs and depreciation costs per month in order to be able to pass these costs along and incorporate it into the price of your baked good. If you want me to do a separate video on indirect costs and how to calculate this and incorporate it into your pricing, comment down below. Step 4, layer on your cushion plus profit. A lot of bakers make the crucial mistake of stopping after step 3. However, after step 3, you've actually only reached your break-even point. This is when your revenue equals your expenses. After step 3, you've essentially paid yourself and accounted for all your expenses, but you have not accounted for profit for your business. I recommend layering on 10% cushion plus an additional 10% in profit to reinvest back into your business. Cushion essentially takes care of any other expenses you might have missed or not accounted for in the previous steps. Step 5. Perform price analysis and understand the components of your pricing model. Understand your pricing model and how changing different components affects the total price. For example, if you were to change your hourly rate from $20 to $35, how would this impact your total price? Or if you were to raise your profit percentage from 10% to 20%, how would this affect your total price? The better you understand your pricing model as well as your pricing components, the more confidently you'll be able to charge your baked goods for profit. Other pricing tips to consider is that you should be revisiting your pricing model at least once a year to account for inflation or other increases in the cost of your ingredients and supplies. Also, as you become more experienced and more efficient, you should be increasing your hourly wage. If you only go by hours worked and don't increase your hourly wage, you would essentially be penalizing yourself for being efficient. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have specific pricing questions you'd like for me to address in future videos, make sure you leave them down below. And if you enjoy content like this, make sure you subscribe to see more baking business videos from me in the future. Thanks and have a great day. Bye!